Welcome to today's news. You are watching Millennium News Hour and I am Tanzeeba Noreen. Here are the latest trending news stories from across the globe. Let's dive into today's top headlines. President Trump says 80% tariff on China is fair before trade talks begin. President Trump plans to welcome white South African refugees to US starting next week. US calls for peace between India and Pakistan. President Trump follows situation closely. Judge orders release of Tufts student Rameza Öztürk from ICE custody. Governor Hochul signs new budget to cut taxes and help millions of New Yorkers. Mayor Adams celebrated state support for key NYC reforms in 2026 budget. Fox News commentator Cameron Kinsey faints live on air. Rihanna's third baby likely to have an R name, says A$AP Rocky. Xi Jinping joins Putin for Russia's Victory Day parade amid ongoing Ukraine conflict. Pakistan and India clash again. Drones and explosions fuel growing crisis. Residents stock up on essentials as India-Pakistan tensions escalate. And FIFA decides to expand Women's World Cup to 48 teams from 2031. You are listening to Headlines Now News in detail. President Trump said an 80% tariff on China seems right as the US prepares for key trade talks. He posted the comment on his Truth Social platform and added, "Up to Scott B." Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and US Trade Representative Jamieson Greer planned to meet Chinese officials in Switzerland this weekend. Trump also posted that China should open its markets, saying, "Would be so good for them. Closed markets don't work anymore." The US and China have traded billions of dollars in goods, but tensions increased last month when Trump announced tariffs of up to 145% on Chinese imports. China answered with 125% tariffs on US goods. A Chinese embassy spokesperson said China agreed to meet after the US requested talks. These talks marked the first official meeting since the trade war began. Stocks rose after Trump's tariff comments. Analysts expect tariffs could drop to 50% to 60% after the talks. UBS suggested a possible final rate around 34%. Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK and said many more trade deals are coming soon, calling them all good ones. The Trump administration is preparing to welcome the first group of white South African refugees to the US as early as next week. Government documents showed this move as a stated priority for President Trump, who signed an executive order in February to help Afrikaners, a white ethnic group in South Africa. Trump claimed Afrikaners are facing racial discrimination and land seizure threats in post-apartheid South Africa. South Africa's government denied those claims. The plan includes a press event at Dulles Airport in Virginia, though the date may change. Afrikaners completed the refugee process unusually fast, some in just weeks. While Trump paused most refugee programs, he allowed support for Afrikaners using health and human services funds. This will cover housing, food, clothes, phones, and more. HHS confirmed it will help them settle. The State Department is interviewing applicants and said more Afrikaners could arrive in the coming months. Trump's order gives them priority based on racial discrimination concerns. The White House said that U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has stayed in regular contact with the leaders of India and Pakistan as tensions between the two countries have continued to rise. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters that President Donald Trump has been closely monitoring the situation and wants the conflict to calm down. The president wants to see a clear de-escalation, Leavitt said during a briefing. Rubio has already spoken to both sides and will continue those talks in the coming days to help reduce tension in the region. India and Pakistan have experienced growing political and military stress in recent weeks. The U.S. has not taken sides but has called for peace and restraint from both nations. Officials said they would keep working with international partners and closely follow the situation to avoid further conflict between the nuclear-armed neighbors. A federal judge ordered Tufts University student Rumeysa Öztürk to be released immediately from ICE custody. She had been detained since March 25 after her student visa was revoked. The judge said Öztürk can return to her home in Massachusetts with no travel limits as she is not a flight risk. Öztürk was arrested in a Boston suburb. Her visa was cancelled by the Trump administration after U.S. officials claimed she supported a group seen as harmful to U.S. foreign policy. This included her op-ed about Palestine, which criticized Trump's response to the war in Gaza. Öztürk appeared virtually from a Louisiana detention center. Her lawyer, Masa Kanbabai, said the decision came 45 days too late. Öztürk had also suffered many asthma attacks during her time in custody, including one during her testimony. Medical experts confirmed her condition. Her lawyers and doctors said the detention worsened her health. She will now prepare for further court hearings while staying in Massachusetts. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science-related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for OLED TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your feed. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Governor Kathy Hochul signed new laws under the FY 2026 state budget to help millions of New Yorkers with the high cost of living. The new laws will cut taxes, expand the child tax credit, send inflation refund checks, and give free school meals to all students. Hochul said these steps will put money back in pupils' pockets and support families across income levels. Under the new child tax credit, families could get up to $1,000 per child under age 4. About 2.75 million children will benefit. Families with incomes up to $170,000 will now qualify. Tax cuts will also help 8.3 million people save nearly 1 billion yearly. The state will send 2 billion in refund checks later this year, with amounts from 150 to 400 based on income. Free meals will now be available to over 2.7 million students statewide. Hochul promised to keep fighting for working families and reducing child poverty in New York. Mayor Eric Adams shared his support for the $254 billion FY 2026 New York State budget, saying it helps deliver on New York City's top priorities. He thanked Governor Kathy Hochul and state lawmakers for backing key city proposals early in the process. One big win was the tax for the working class plan. This will cut city income taxes for over 500,000 working-class New Yorkers and return $63 million to their pockets. Adams said this is a big help during the ongoing affordability crisis. The budget also took steps to support mental health treatment, including wider use of involuntary help for people with severe mental illness. Adams had pushed hard for this for 3 years and said progress had been made, but more work remains. Adams also welcomed updates to criminal justice laws that aim to stop repeat offenders, help prosecutors, and protect public safety. He plans to keep pushing for more progress during this session and next year. During a broadcast of Fox News at night on May 8, 2025, political commentator Cameron Kinsey fainted while discussing remarks made by former President Joe Biden. Kinsey struggled to find her words before suddenly collapsing from her chair, falling to the studio floor. Host Jonathan Hunt, shocked by the incident, called for help, and the broadcast quickly cut to a commercial break. Following the break, Hunt reassured viewers that Kinsey had regained consciousness. He confirmed that paramedics were attending to her and wished her a speedy recovery. Kinsey later addressed the incident on X, thanking the Fox News team and emergency responders for their quick action and care. She expressed gratitude for the support she received from viewers, stating that she was taking time to rest and recover. Fox News issued a statement confirming that Kinsey had been treated and cleared by paramedics and was feeling much better. A$AP Rocky dropped a hint about the name of his third baby with Rihanna following her surprise pregnancy reveal at the Met Gala. During an appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers, Rocky was asked if the third child would follow the pattern of R names like his first two sons Arzie and Riot. He confirmed for sure, hinting the baby's name would likely start with R. Rihanna and Rocky, both 36 and 37 years old, already have two sons, Arzie Atlaston Meyers and Riot Rose. Though the gender of their third child hasn't been revealed, Rihanna has expressed interest in having a girl in the past. Before the Met Gala, Rihanna was spotted flaunting a baby bump. At the event, she wore a fitted pinstripe gown and a black hat, making a striking entrance. She jokingly mentioned feeling relieved she no longer had to suck her stomach in. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science-related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for OLED TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your feed. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Now it's time for global updates. Russia marked the 80th anniversary of victory in Europe Day with a grand parade in Moscow. Russian President Vladimir Putin hosted a spectacular event featuring soldiers from across the military and former Soviet republics, as well as an impressive display of weaponry. Chinese President Xi Jinping, a close ally of Russia, attended the parade, sitting next to Putin. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva also joined the event. The parade, which celebrated Russia's World War II victory over Nazi Germany, also served as political theater, reminding the world of Russia's military strength. Putin's speech alluded to the ongoing Ukraine conflict, acknowledging the difficult moment Russia faces but providing few details on the special military operation. The event was aimed at boosting Russian morale amid the prolonged conflict. Despite heavy casualties, Russia's military remains in action and the fighting shows no sign of ending soon. Explosions and blasts shook Indian Kashmir and the Sikh holy city of Amritsar in Punjab. Escalation tensions between India and Pakistan. The Indian military reported shooting down drones, marking the worst conflict between the two nuclear-armed nations in nearly 30 years. Amritsar, which had been calm for the first 3 days on the conflict, was now targeted, signaling a possible expansion of hostilities. Blasts were also heard in Jammu and 10 explosions occurred near the airport in Srinagar, Kashmir. India accused Pakistan of cross-border attacks after the recent killing of Hindu tourists, but Pakistan denied involvement. The ongoing conflict has resulted in 48 deaths on both sides, with heavy shelling killing 5 civilians in Pakistani Kashmir. As the situation worsened, locals and tourists fled border areas, and both India's IPL and Pakistan's Cricket League were affected. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been in contact with both countries, urging de-escalation. Residents in border areas of India and Pakistan rushed to stockpile food and other essentials as military clashes continued for the third day. The violence, described as the worst in nearly 3 decades, erupted after India targeted what it claimed were terrorist camps in Pakistan in retaliation for an attack on Hindu tourists in Kashmir. In India's Punjab state, families near the border sent women and children to safer areas, fearing their villages might be next. In Kashmir's Uri district, many residents fled overnight to bunkers after intense shelling damaged homes. In Pakistan's Lahore, people stocked up on food, medicine, and gas cylinders, leading authorities to warn against price hikes. Food Panther reported a surge in grocery orders nationwide. Pakistan-administered Kashmir evacuated over 400 people from areas near the line of control. Local authorities confirmed that most residents were spending the night in bunkers for safety. Let's have a look on today's sports story. FIFA announced that the Women's World Cup will grow from 32 to 48 teams starting in 2031. The decision was made by the FIFA Council and followed the success of the 2023 tournament in Australia, which Spain won. FIFA said the change came after strong growth in women's football around the world. The new format will include 12 groups and increase the total matches from 64 to 104. The tournament will also be extended by 1 week. FIFA has not yet confirmed the host countries for the 2031 and 2035 editions. FIFA President Gianni Infantino said the 2023 World Cup showed high competitiveness, with teams from all confederations winning at least 1 match and 5 confederations reaching the knockout stage. The 2027 World Cup in Brazil will still have 32 teams. FIFA believes expanding the tournament will give more countries a chance to compete and will help grow women's football worldwide. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science-related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for OLED TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your feed. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 19,314.18. The NYSE Composite is increased by 51.80 points or 0.27%. Tokyo stock close price is 37,503.33. The Nikkei 225 index is increased by 574.70 points or 1.56%. Shanghai stock close price is 3,342.00. The Shanghai index is decreased by 10.00 points or 0.30%. Hong Kong stock close price is 22,867.74. The Hang Seng Index is increased by 91.82 points or 0.40%. Bombay stock close price is 79,454.47. The Sensex Index is decreased by 880.34 points or 1.10%. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. before finishing today's news, let's hear out the headlines again. President Trump says 80% tariff on China is fair before trade talks begin. President Trump plans to welcome white South African refugees to US starting next week. US calls for peace between India and Pakistan. President Trump follows situation closely. Judge orders release of Tufts student Rameza Ozturk from ICE custody. Governor Hochul signs new budget to cut taxes and help millions of New Yorkers. Mayor Adams celebrated state support for key NYC reforms in 2026 budget. Fox News commentator Cameron Kinsey faints live on air. Rihanna's third baby likely to have an R name, says A$AP Rocky. Xi Jinping joins Putin for Russia's Victory Day parade amid ongoing Ukraine conflict. Pakistan and India clash again. Drones and explosions fuel growing crisis. Residents stock up on essentials as India-Pakistan tensions escalate. And FIFA decides to expand Women's World Cup to 48 teams from 2031. That's all for today. Keep watching Millennium News Hour for latest news update. To stay updated, like our Facebook page, subscribe our YouTube channel, and visit our websites. Our website addresses are www.millenniumnews24.com and www.millenniumtv24.com. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all smart TVs and Roku TV, Amazon TV, Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with the Sky Network, Worldwide Jadoo TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all the latest news worldwide. Thank you.